Hello, everybody. My name is Bob, and we're playing Victoria 3. Uh, I'm going to title this Victoria 3 for noobs like me because this is not a tutorial. I'm not confident enough at the game to call it a tutorial. This is just stuff that I have learned. So that if you uh, want to play Victoria 3 and you're starting out from scratch and you have no idea what the hell is going on, then you can look at my non-tutorial and at least pick my brain as to what I know so far. Up at the top right, you can see the time progression right now is paused. If I unpause it, it will be at time compression 3. And so if you're sort of in the middle of whole lot of shit, you may want to slow it down, or if you're just waiting for stuff to build, you can speed it up. What the hell is going on? No active research. Let's go ahead and research something. Technology. Technology allows you to learn stuff. And there are three different categories: production, military, and society. We're starting as Madagascar, which if you're just starting to learn the game, I would recommend that you start as Madagascar for this reason. You're not going to inherit a lot of problems that other countries will already have. In other words, you're moving into a country that's already in progress and might already have some inefficiencies or bad stuff that you need to fix. Madagascar, you're starting off at basically mud eating level, so you're building everything from the ground up, pretty much, and so you can learn better that way if you're just getting a grip on how things work. You don't have to worry that much for at least the first half of the game about anybody going to invade you, because they're probably not. You're an island, and you don't have to mess with trade yet because nobody's going to trade with you. In order to get um, more trade, you need to increase your rank in the world. Right here, this is my rank. I'm 111th in the world, and it's going to be very hard for me to get much up from that, which means that probably nobody's going to bother to trade with me. So that's fine for right now because we're just learning how the interface and development works. So we're not really that much interested in military. Let's take a look at society. We're going to want bureaucracy because that's going to allow us to do things like make our tax collection more efficient. So we're going to go ahead and go for bureaucracy. And one thing that is very opaque about Victoria 3, there's this thing will teach you about different ideas and concepts in the game, but it's not very good. Um, it's very incomplete. What it's most incomplete at is telling you what different kinds of structures that you build in your city. Like here, go to buildings. We have fishing wharves and livestock ranches and tobacco plantations. It's very bad about when you get up to more advanced types of manufacturing. It's very bad about telling you what you're going to need in order to make that manufacturing work. You just have to actually build it and then figure out, oh shit, I don't have fabric, or I don't have enough fabric, or I don't have iron to make tools with, and I don't have tools because I don't have iron. So that's one thing that the game is very bad at. So maybe the game is just out here recently, so maybe they'll improve that some. But for right now, you're kind of on your own, or actually you're on your own and looking at YouTube tutorials to figure out what things need. Um, anyway, uh, we're gonna want to build stuff. First thing I'm gonna want to build. This is my capital area, and this is my the other area. Let's take a look and see what kind of resources I have here. Okay, mostly agricultural stuff. Oh, yeah, I do have coal, but without metal, that's not going to do me that much good. And over here, pretty much the same thing, banana plantations and shit. So anyway, first thing we're going to want here is to build a construction. Well, build a construction sector. Up here you see how much your money your government is bringing in. Um, this golden line underneath it, or maybe a red line, is how much money you have just sitting around. The only time when you want to have a lot of money here sitting around is when someone's about to go to war with you, or you're about to go to war with somebody else. Other than that, you want this line to be as close to this point as possible. You don't want to be stockpiling a lot of money. Why is that? Well, you would think that you'd want to have a lot of money sitting in your pocket, but that is money that is not circulating through your economy, and so having stockpiling gold. This is your gold reserves. Stockpiling gold is bad. This is your influence. Um, Basically, you can make nice with different people. We're going to make nice with Portugal. And that's really all that we're worried about making ice with right now. We don't have enough stature to have more than one sphere of influence. You see here, it says interest in Zanji, which is this area here. I don't know if you can see that sliding up. So here, these are different areas that you can declare interest in, but we don't have enough of this rank to declare more than the interest that we have in our neighborhood, which means that nobody will trade with us. So one thing we're not going to be worried about here is trading. Go over here to buildings. Go to construction. You see we building a construction sector here. We could probably do one here too. What does a construction sector do for us? Construction sector basically um, uh, allows us to build things faster. Um, but here's the thing: building stuff requires resources. Resources it requires is wood and fabric. Fabric is, among other things, created by livestock ranches, because I guess leather is a fabric. The next thing we're going to want to build after this is livestock ranches. Here it says 1 of 78. 78 is how high a level you can go. So in a perfect world, you want to build your livestock ranches in a place where they can 0 to 65 here. You want to build your livestock ranches someplace where they can develop to their maximum potential. So we're going to go ahead and build a livestock ranch. Other thing we need to build stuff with our buildings is logging camps. Let's see what we have here. We don't have any options for logging camps here. So we're going to go over here. Oh, okay, logging camps. We can build 20 logging camps here. We can build 23 here. So we'll just go ahead and build logging camps here. And so we see our buildings tab. We got a second construction sector going, and then we got the livestock ranches and logging camps. Reason for having those is we're trying to drive the price of logs and fabric down. So right now logs are very high. That means that it's going to cost us a lot of money to build anything, and that could actually drive our budget into the deficit. We don't want that. Fabric is also really high. So actually, number 65. And we don't actually have even the potential to build livestock ranches over here. Okay, that makes life simple. Build another livestock ranch. And build another logging camp. Okay, so when we build those, that's going to drive the price of logs and fabric down. Uh, because we need logs and fabric to build every building that we're going to build. We need those to be down, or else it's going to cost us more money because the government has to actually pay for that stuff. It's going to cost us more money, and we're going to find this going downwards. It's going to cost us more money, government more money, and that's going to be bad for our budget. So we want to go ahead and build up the livestock ranges and logging camps so that we can actually build other stuff uh, less expensively. You see here we have a shortage of wood, and that's because wood is expensive. There are more buy orders for wood than there are sell orders. So we are going to fix that. Let's go ahead and now this may go negative. That's totally okay because, like I said, we have these gold reserves. We got 165,000 in gold reserves. So we actually want to go ahead and let that come down, or at least it's okay if that happens. That we don't mind if that happens because we need to put that money to work. Now, if it gets down closer to the 0 point, then that's we need to start worrying. But for right now, we're okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at our budget. We have middle level of taxation, and we also have middle level of wages and government wages and military wages. Um, as we see here, what our income versus our expenses are. Um, Building stuff is expensive, and it's especially expensive if logs and fabric are high. So we want to drive down the cost of logs and fabric as much as possible. And I expect that when we get these logging camps and livestock ranches done, we're going to see that pop up. But for right now, though, deficit spending is totally okay. Even though we could raise taxes or lower wages, we're not going to do that yet until we start getting way low. Reason why you don't want to increase taxes more than you need to is that adversely affects standard of living. Standard of living is also going to be something that's going to be very important when you first start up, because low standard of living makes radicals. Radicals are people who want to fight your government, inside your country. Those are the people who are opposing you and may wind up going violently against you if the standard of living goes low enough. Um, so if I had like 2K worth of positive income here, I would definitely start lowering taxes because that affects the standard of living. Also, increasing government wages and military wages also positively impact standard of living. So people have more money, they can spend more, they are happier, they breed more. Right now we have 1.4 million, 1.94 million population. We want that to go up because we're building buildings to try to improve our country. Those buildings have to have employees, and if they don't have employees, they're not going to work right. So we want to improve the standard of living so that we can have more population, so we can have more employees, and we can build more buildings, and then you use that to further improve the standard of living, or our military, our technology level, or whatever. Um, so, going to pause. Let's see what we have here. We do not have a government building here. Apparently, we can't. We have not invented bureaucracy, so we can't do that. Okay, we're about to invent bureaucracy. Okay. So in the meantime, also having tobacco, even though it's bad for your health, improves the standard of living because people are happier because they have their drugs. Um, okay, for grain, most important thing in the early going is making sure everybody has enough food. That one has a potential for 65 levels of grain. That one has 76. So we'll go ahead and crank out a couple grain farms there. A lot of these things, like tea plantations and stuff, it's good for improving standard of living, but also it's good for export. Right now we have no exports, no trade at all. Let me show you the trade screen right quick. Okay, that's market. You can see food is pretty high. Oh, wait a minute. Food is kind of middling. That's fine. This is coming down. It needs to come down further. That's going down. We might actually need more logging camps. Oh, this one has no logging at all, for whatever reason. Go to add a logging camp there. And we'll go ahead and add a livestock ranch here. Livestock ranches, you can click on that icon and it'll show you the innards of that industry. Livestock ranches create fabric, which is one of the things you need for construction, and also meat, which helps to make your consumers happy. Because meat is good. Meat is good. Okay. Okay, so I was talking about trade. Go to market, go to trade routes, and we have none because we're Madagascar and we're basically at the point of stick level of development. Um, we're not going to be having any kind of options for trade because what's going on here? Oh, markets. Okay. Because apparently Portugal is the only people who are really nearby here, and they're not. We can't trade with them because we actually don't have a interest level in Europe where they are, and so having an interest level in this region doesn't count. So we're not basically not going to trade with anybody, and that is going to remain the case for as long as we have only one. Uh, what am I looking at? Hold on a second. As long as we only have the one interest zone, which our one interest zone is here in Nowheresville, and we don't think we can actually get rid of that. We can't get rid of that. So we're stuck with having a interest zone in Nowhereville, which means nobody there wants to trade. Um, that is actually the worst place we could possibly have an interest in. Really miserable. Um, so we're not basically not going to have a trade. Switch if you're just learning the game for the first time, that's okay. You can take on trade afterwards. Okay, you see here we're actually starting to lose some money here. Let's take a look at our budget. Construction goods are still expensive, so that's part of what's driving us up. We're going to go ahead and drop government wages and military wages for right now. And I'm not going to worry about increasing tax rate right now. If you wind up going into the red here, what happens is basically it's like you have credit, and you're using that credit, and you have to pay interest on it. So you don't want to get. It's okay to go in the red a little bit, but on the whole, you don't really want to go into the red. Also, one thing we haven't done. Let's take a look at our industries here. Agriculture mostly, and agriculture mostly. We're going to go ahead and encourage agriculture industry. The effect of this is a decree. The effect of this can be very significant. So you want to go ahead and do that, but it uses up authority points. So you have to make sure you have enough authority in your in your country to actually do it. So we're going to promote agriculture industry and promote agriculture industry and play. Okay, we have bureaucracy. That means two things. We have to choose another technology. We're going to go ahead and choose centralization. And it also means we can build government administration buildings. We're just going to build the one for right now. Uh, Basically, government administration buildings increase the efficiency with which you collect taxes, and also increases your bureaucracy level. And you use your bureaucracy level for such things as trade. We don't actually care that much about trade right now, but we need to have more bureaucracy in the country for tax collection purposes. Okay, and play. And you see down here, different other countries are doing their own thing at the same time that you're doing your thing. Logs are still too damn high. Fabric is still too damn high. Millet is actually okay. Now, when you see something like, well, we can't do these fancy clothes or fancy furniture, but you see something like regular clothes, and you see that it's expensive, you might want to build those things because they're going to do well. But, build a textile mill to build clothes because those things are going to do well. But textile mills also use fabric, which means the price of fabric is going to go up. So make sure that you have build another uh, livestock farm, whatever the hell it's called. Um Livestock ranch. Make sure you build another livestock ranch so that your price of fabric doesn't go too high up, and that'll uh, increase the costs to your government to build stuff. You don't want that. Okay, as you see here, we have a positive cash flow. That's good. If that continues to increase, then what we'll do is we'll lower taxes or increase government wages. You see here, it says current situation, um, uh, and it says expensive government goods wood. So we're going to after we're done with this, we're going to build logging camps and keep building them until we have until wood is cheap. And we want wood to be cheap because we want to be able to build things like this government administration building or the logging camps at a lower price. And we probably will actually go ahead and do yet another livestock ranch after that, because probably our first industry is going to be clothing, and that's going to require more fabric. Okay, here I moved government administration downwards because I feel like we got a lot of administration, a lot of bureaucracy, so we don't really need that high a priority. So what I did is I used these buttons to move it down in the list, so that it stops working on that and starts working on the logging camps and livestock ranches. Which honestly, I'm probably going to need even more livestock ranches. Let's go ahead and add one. And more logs also would be a good. Every once in a while, you'll actually get technology unlocks, not because of what you did, but because other countries have unlocked it, and it has diffused to you. So because these other countries have unlocked this stuff, um, you eventually get it also. We go ahead and hit pause. So we already got centralization. We'll go ahead and go with central archives, which it'll tell you exactly what that'll do for you. It'll improve your taxation capacity. um, and +1 home affairs investment, which it would be a good thing to go ahead and look at if we can invest in. We have no laws providing any institutions. Okay, so we can't invest any bureaucracy in that. Um, this is the problem with Madagascar. Um, it's a very conservative government, and it's very hard to change it. And unless you change the government, there are certain laws that you're not going to be able to enact. So right now, the laws that the government is willing to support is local police force, which probably will go for that. Uh, we'll go ahead and start that. And all these other police forces and outlaw dissent. So we don't want to outlaw dissent. We're going to go ahead and go with local police force would be fine. But that is one problem with playing as Madagascar is the government is very conservative and it's very hard to change. And you need to change your government around a little bit to allow you to unlock new laws so you can develop other things. For instance, if you want some kind of uh, you know poor laws. You don't want the poor people to just lie dying on the street. You want them to go to the poorhouse. So that requires that you pass a law, and your government won't pass a law if they don't support it. So right now we have Queen Rada Balota Hova, um, and it's an absolute monarchy. And even to change that from absolute monarchy, we actually need to have the support of government. So that's not all that likely to happen. But what we can do to try to influence things is we can do stuff that develops the intelligentsia, but the intelligentsia tends to be radical. Uh, the ideal thing would be to develop the industrialists, have them come in, join the government, and then you can have different laws that you can are able to pass, including possibly getting rid of the absolute monarchy and choosing something a little bit more democratic. Um, that's I'm playing as Madagascar because it's a good place to learn basic mechanics of doing stuff. It's not really especially not a lot of options you have playing as Madagascar, but um, um, but it's a place where you can learn what to do um, without having to correct the mistakes of that are already existing. So, for instance, if you were to start as Chile, Chile is a great country to play as, and I would recommend that you play as Chile next. But when you start as Chile, that country is already in progress, and it already has issues that you need to resolve. And if you're just starting out, you don't know what the hell those issues even are. Um, so although Chile is a great country to play as, it's a bad country to start with because you're going to wind up in debt and wind up bankrupt. Um, hold on. Encourage agricultural development in North America. Okay, boost our farm further is our only option. All right, that's a good thing. Every once in a while, you get little things popping up, and either it could be anything from an earthquake and a famine to to promoting a certain political group. Um, right now, we're going to want to promote the industrialists, but we don't have any industry. So until we get some industry going, it's going to be really hard to do that. That's another aspect of this very complicated game is the politics. But I'm not really worried about the politics right now. I'm worried about economic development. Okay, we finished building our logging camps and our livestock ranches. Let's see what that has done to the price of wood. And wood is quite low. And fabric is very low. So that's very good. Next thing we're actually going to build is a textile mill. Hopefully it'll let us do that. Yeah, textile mill. The reason why we wanted to build that is because that will improve the standard of living of our people. Improving the standard of living decreases radicalism and increases the population because people are more likely to want to have kids if they're doing better. All right, well, our budget is up to positive 3.3K. That's a lot of money, so let's go ahead and lower the tax rate. Lowering the tax rate also improves the standard of living. Uh, and let's see. We're going to go ahead and bring up the government wages and bring up the military wages.